welcome to Taiwan Mandarin with Mavis. How do you greet people in your native language? Is there a go-to phrase that's safe to use on all occasions? When you first started learning Mandarin Chinese, especially from the textbook, you probably encountered the phrase 你好吗 as the English equivalent of how are you? Grammatically speaking, it's a proper greeting, but in real-life situations, we rarely use 你好吗 to greet people, at least not in Taiwan Mandarin. Let's take a couple minutes to learn some common greetings to use throughout the day that a native Taiwan Mandarin speaker will use. Starting from the beginning of the day, as soon as the break of dawn all the way through around noon, you can use the phrase 早 or 早安 to greet people. 早 means early or morning. Both 早 and 早安 are very commonly used when you run into someone before the lunch hours. For example, when you get into the office in the morning, feel free to tell everyone 早 or 早安, or when you are getting breakfast at the breakfast joint, it's always nice to throw in a 早 or 早安before placing your order. This greeting is only good through around noon. If you greet people 早 or 早安after lunch hours, people might think you woke up really late. A close friend might even joke about 已经不早了, which means it's not early anymore. When it's lunch hour through the early afternoon around 2 to 3 p.m., you can greet people 午安, which means good afternoon. 午安 isn't used as commonly as we use 早安, but it's still not awkward to greet someone who's your senior or someone who you're not as familiar with 午安. Technically, the formality level of 早安 and 午安 is the same. But loosely, 午安 just feels a little more distant. Personally, I wouldn't use 午安 to greet people who I'm close with. If you don't want to use 午安 to greet people, what can you replace it with? Use this instead. 你好. Instead of saying 你好吗 as how are you in English, we actually use 你好, which means hello in English, way more often. It's a term that can be used in both casual and formal situations with no time constraints. You can greet people 你好 pretty much any time throughout the day. While you can use it in a casual situation, we don't really greet people who we are close with like your best friend 你好. A more common word to use with your close circle of friends would be hello. Hello is a loan word from the English word hello and can be used in the same way in Taiwan Mandarin as its English counterpart. You're good to greet people hello throughout the day without having to worry about the time frame. Besides hello, hi is another common loan word from the English word hi that you can use pretty much throughout the day, but mostly in casual situations. It may be a little inappropriate if you use it in a formal setting. So I stick with 你好, hello, and hi as my go-to greetings from noon through the evening. Why? Because we don't really have a phrase for good evening in Mandarin Chinese. However, we do have a word for good night, which is 晚安. 晚 means late or night. 晚安 is a phrase we use to greet people, usually before bed or when you are ending a conversation or saying goodbye at night. 晚安 is a greeting that we use very often and can also be used in a formal or casual situation. Now you know how to greet people in a real-life setting instead of the textbook usage 你好吗? Let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to learn in Mandarin Chinese. Subscribe and turn on your notifications. 咱下次见!